what if your IRA did not just invest in the market? What if your IRA could act more like a lender? Instead of buying stock, a mutual fund, or a piece of real estate directly, your retirement account could potentially lend money to a borrower and receive payments back over time. That is private lending. And for a lot of self-directed investors, it's one of the most straightforward examples of investing in what you know. But there are some very important details to get right. And maybe most importantly, are you accidentally creating a prohibited transaction? Today, we are breaking down private lending inside a self-directed IRA. Let's go. Hello, listener. Welcome. We have the whole crew back together today.
That's right. Good to see everybody.
Hi, guys.
I just want to make a note. Listener, what'd you think of that new intro? We tried something new there?
Oh, the new intro?
Yeah, I just did it, but they just heard it also.
Okay.
You liked
But it was like an intro.
Yeah.
Set us up for the day.
Yeah. So we're talking about real estate today. Just kidding. Private lending.
The guy who was reading it his voice sounded
Sexy.
weighty, almost like
Weight,
big,
like he's important weight? Like
no,
weight
no,
important? Like fat.
Physical weight.
Like fat.
Yeah,
fat.
physical weight. I don't know.
Yeah, see? No respect, listener.
Summer bod.
Summer body. I'm good. You know what? I'm going on vacation. I'm not going to say to the public where I'm going, but I'm already going on vacation. So I'm getting into some swimsuit wear season.
Well, that's a good tease because we are actually going to take a little bit of a hiatus for a couple of weeks. So this is going to be our last podcast for a couple of weeks, but then we'll be back on at the end of the month.
Because we are going on trips.
Because we're
Summer
vacation.
break.
Summer break for alts at altitude.
That's right.
And just shout out for you not disclosing where you're going because I don't want our fans to come to where you're going to be
But
and
just
bug
happens.
you and the family.
You know, I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stalkers.
He's
I-
such a celebrity.
I check in under a pseudonym.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
Mr. Cheekies. Listener, I just made that up.
we might need to cut that
I
out.
apologize.
Yeah, that's going to make
No way, that needs to go in. That should be the intro.
All right, Mr. Cheekies.
All right, guys. Hey, look, listener, it's been a while since the team together, so it's good to have everyone back. Claire, Travis, Eric, myself.
Good to see everybody.
We had a couple there. We were interviewing people. It was awesome. We had guests. I hope, listener, you appreciate that we were trying to kind of keep it a potpourri of different things to kind of keep it fresh.
Mm-hmm.
As always, we'd love to hear your feedback, so don't hesitate. We're doing this with you in a way. And with that said, today, as we talked about in the intro, we're talking about an asset class that I'll be straightforward, is not one of our most popular, and I'm surprised actually. We do a lot of real estate, we do a lot of LLCs, which we talked about, we do a lot of private equity. Private lending, which is the topic today, is kind of behind that in frequency of doing for our investors, but still an awesome opportunity for a self-directed investor. So today we're going to go over the highlights of what private lending, private notes, peer-to-peer lending, there's lots of words for it, what it looks like in an IRA. You guys ready to do this?
I think so.
So let's start at the basement. Let's start at very basic. Hand over my homie, Eric. So what do we need by private lending, private notes, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so it sounds like what it is. It's one party lending money to another party, and in this case, it's the IRA that is lending the money, and it works just like any other loan. You can do a loan to an individual, business, for real estate. There's different types of loans. Some even convert into equity in a company.
We're going to go over all that.
So a lot of interesting options there. But the main kind of things to note are that it has to have a term, it has to have a payment frequency, it has to have an interest rate, and it also has to have a value.
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of the main parts to classify it as a loan.
Gotcha.
And again, the payments that come back go back into the IRA. So just like all the other things we talk about, payments go out and back into the IRA.
All right. So let's put at least an example to this, right, to see. And we'll go into the detail of different types of loans here in a second. But so let's just say the loan is $100,000. It's my IRA, and I'm loaning to Eric $100,000. So right there, it's within the IRA. So the IRA is loaning the money.
That's right. Think of your IRA as like a private bank.
Yeah, it's like a bank.
Yeah.
So I love that actually. So my IRA is loaning Eric $100,000. There's the value, $100,000. It's a 5-year loan. Most people use to mortgages, very similar. Okay. It's a 5-year loan. So that's the term. And then he owes me a payment every single month, every quarter, once a year. It's really up to the IRA holder what those terms are. But let's just for this one say monthly term. So it's 5 years, $100,000 paid monthly in a term at a 4% interest rate. The thing interesting about interest rate, I'm not sure if you said it, it has to be a reasonable interest rate.
What does that mean?
Well, I'm going to hand over vague terms to the Esquire in the room.
Good call.
He doesn't know
Wait a
this.
second. This isn't on the script.
Yeah, off the script. I'll set him up. I would say this. Again, we don't give advice on this podcast. Don't sue us. What's that term in legal where it's like a layman would consider it reasonable?
The reasonable person?
The reasonable person
right.
clause. So if a reasonable person would say, if I did the loan at 0.01%, that would, a reasonable person be like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. Unreasonable.
But if I did the loan, say a loan out of a normal bank is at 5% and I did it at 3%, that can be reasonable.
And listen, do your due diligence. There's usury rates, which is a fancy term of saying like the most you can charge on a loan.
Yeah.
Each state will usually set that. There's also minimums. There's also I think if you Google it, there's a bank lending that you can go to. That you just make sure you're average. But again, do your due
diligence in this one. But it's a reasonable rate, and there's lots of calculators out there in the world
everywhere
to help you with the reasonable rate. So you can't be a loan shark and make it 50% loan, and you can't like just give free money out at 0.00001%. And then the final thing, so we did value, frequency, rate, term. The final thing that I want to touch on before we get into the different types of loans and then how this process works is our favorite topic. Does anyone want to guess what our favorite topic is? Prohibited transactions.
Oh, yes.
Dang.
So again, in a private loan situation, it still lives up to the prohibited transaction of disqualified people. So Claire, could I loan my son money?
So unfortunately not. And if you've listened to any of our old podcasts, you realize that it's all about that linear up and down. So those are prohibited individuals.
So I'm not saying that our listeners would think about schemes in any way.
No,
but if I had $1 million in my IRA, I can't just loan that to my kid.
No, sure can't. That would probably go under the prohibited and unreasonable.
Yes,
buckets.
that would be bad. But Eric, full disclosure, not related to me as much as we look alike.
You wish.
I'm
you
offended.
looked like Eric.
Yeah.
Eric is handsome.
Let's make it very clear I'm the younger brother in this one too.
Yeah, you are not.
So many jokes I could say right now, listener. But if I loaned him $1 million and it met a term, a frequency, a rate, value, that's fine because he's not prohibited.
That's right.
And it's very clear. I want to say it again, then we'll move on to other stuff. This is a loan between the IRA and the borrower, not Kevin Dotson and Eric. Critical. Just like in our earlier podcasts, the IRA owns the real estate. The IRA owns the private equity. The IRA is doing the loaning, if you will. I just made a word up.
Yeah, lender. IRA is the lender.
Yeah. I'm from the Midwest.
We all know.
Okay, so we got that out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about the types of loans. There's different types of loans, but all loans have that same criteria, but there's different types of loan. So I'm just going to throw the word out. Eric's going to talk about it, then we'll jam about it. Travis is actually, these loans, we're going to go lawyer with this one. Travis Brown.
Yeah.
Our listeners may or may not have heard something called like a secured loan or a secured note.
Right.
Could you just give me an idea of what a secured note is?
It's got collateral.
Okay, that's a very big word, collateral. What are examples of collateral?
Collateral can be like real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Could be equipment. Could be your inventory if you own a business. Could be your receivables if you own your business. Or it could be business assets. So, Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, much like a lot of people are familiar with mortgage loans, you're actually using the property most likely in a mortgage loan as collateral.
Deed of trust.
Deed of trust. So a secured loan would be similar, not same, to a mortgage in a way. There's something backing it up. Here's a critical thing. Does that collateral have to be in the IRA?
No.
It doesn't.
No.
I think that's an interesting detail.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it has to be within the terms.
That's right. You got to describe it.
You have to describe it. It has to be within the paperwork, which we'll get to.
Yep.
But that's
the loan.
nice. That opens it up to a lot more opportunities for the collateral, so you are able to do that.
Right. As the borrower, I could be like, hey, look, I'm going to give, again, I keep moving the value around. Eric's like, I liked it when it was $1 million.
I like $1 million.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
I'm going to
Because he's the receiver.
I'm going to lend Eric $1 million.
Okay.
He's going to use his home
Yeah.
as collateral, and that will be described in the loan documents that need to be created by like a lawyer.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. It'll need to be appropriately described.
If that home didn't hit that value, would he be able to add in additional collateral?
If the lender requires it, he should. I mean, he could do it. Yeah. He could absolutely require
We don't
more.
say that's a big.
That was a test.
You know
That was
what?
a
I
test.
should probably just leave.
And that was
Finally.
coming
It's
from
been
the-
real, viewers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if Eric, I don't know this. This makes it up, listener. If Eric has a home that's worth $400,000, which doesn't exist in Colorado,
I
but
was
let's
gonna
just say that.
I know where he lives. There's no way it's.
I didn't want to say anything. Just say it's $400,000 in Pueblo.
Shout out Pueblo.
Shout out Pueblo. We love you, Pueblo.
Yeah, Colorado Springs.
Southern Colorado is fantastic.
We love it.
So Eric has a $400,000 value house. He puts that as collateral. He has, say, a small business that's worth $600,000. He could combine those as collateral in the loan.
That's right.
Gotcha. Cool. Sweet. So secured loan has collateral.
Yes, sir.
Easy.
Next type of loan.
And real quick,
Okay, Eric, go ahead.
real estate's a great example of where we see this often. You know, somebody's buying an investment property, fix or flip, whatever it may be, and they have that asset to use as collateral. So it's a pretty common thing we see.
I would say, just to riff off that, Eric, I would say of our client base at New Direction, I can't speak for the whole industry, I would say the most common type of loan we see is a real estate loan for short-term kind of fix and flip mentality.
Exactly.
So again, this is just an example, listener. My IRA has money, so to Travis's point, all in quotes, I'm kind of the bank with my IRA, providing a loan to Eric who fix and flips houses. So it's a short-term, 6-month, 3-month capital loan. He pays the interest on that, and then I just do that for the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And we have seen that often.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible. Sweet. So I think we got secured loan locked in. Let's talk about the one that gets a little bit of bad press sometimes.
What's that?
And that is the unsecured loan, which is possible.
Yes.
And also, real quick, before we move on to unsecured.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
I want to make a little, clarification here. Secured doesn't mean that it's safe.
Oh,
It doesn't mean that it's a good loan. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that it has collateral. Doesn't mean that it's necessarily safe.
Yeah. That's
So I just want to make sure we cover that before we move on.
This is why Eric can afford that house.
That's why he gets paid the
is
big bucks.
that secured does not equal safe.
That's right.
Like with all investments in your IRA, there's no guarantees.
They all carry a risk.
And I will give advice here. If someone says there's a guarantee, question that.
Just
Nothing's guaranteed.
That's just me being your friend.
I just said, you know what? I'll allow it.
Yeah. If someone says, I guarantee 30% return,
10% guaranteed.
you want to do our favorite 2 words, due diligence on that.
Qualified.
So
people.
secured does not equal safe. Great point,
So
Eric.
what
Thank
does
you.
unsecured mean?
Yeah, thank you for keeping us on track, Claire.
Thanks, Claire.
Travis, what does unsecured mean?
No collateral. But the borrower is still responsible for repayment. And the only thing that is different here is that instead of having the collateral that you can go in and grab and attach to, is the legal term, you have nothing to do that. You have a right to sue on that in that situation, but that's about it.
So this is interesting. There's some things that I get kerfunkled about.
It's an interesting one. Can you spell it?
No, I can't. I think I just made it up, actually.
Oh, nice.
A public school Midwest. Thank you.
It was a private school. Stop it.
Shut up. I'm trying to.
But it was Midwest, so that's public.
He's trying to
Everywhere
be
else in the
relatable,
country.
but it's hard for
it's
him.
not working, dude.
I'm not wearing socks.
We all know, and it makes us want to barf.
Yeah, you're welcome, viewers. Claire, you and I play this one out. So I decide that I'm just going to loan Claire money, $1 million.
Your IRA decides that?
My IRA, I decide for my IRA that my IRA is going to loan Claire $1 million. And Claire is basically going to say, I promise to pay
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I promise.
Yeah.
I, as the lender in this situation, really have no recourse other than if she doesn't pay me, I could sue her.
That's right. That's right.
So unsecured loans, we could make a strong argument, are riskier.
And that's why you always want to reach out to a qualified individual. Make sure you do your due diligence on the person you're trying to loan to. All that stuff. Check all those due diligence boxes if you're going to get into an unsecured loan situation. Unsecured note situation.
So this is the one. I'm trying to be careful with this one because this one just kind of blows my mind a little bit. Is it possible? Absolutely. And so that's why we're going over it. Go ahead. You're saying
So
something?
I was just thinking, so it is possible, but it's just the difference is there's no asset backing it up.
Yeah, there's no collateral. There's no saying, hey, if I don't pay this, then you get this.
Right.
It's like a legal IOU.
Yeah,
Of
great.
sorts.
Yeah, it's like a legal IOU, and if
right.
I don't, you can come find me.
Yeah.
That's right.
It just seems. Again, we don't give advice on this podcast, but my favorite comment to make is just before you do that, make sure you are doing your hyper due diligence on who you're lending that to.
And consulting with qualified individuals, whether that be a tax attorney, an attorney in general, somebody you trust.
Is it possible? Yes. A lot of risk.
Yes.
Okay.
Would you agree with that, Eric?
I would. I think maybe it just goes to show that almost anything is possible in a self-directed IRA.
As long as I meet the prohibited transactions.
I like that.
So, I mean, are there investors out there that do this
Sure.
and they have a great strategy behind it and they make money?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You just got to know the risks of
And
it.
the big difference is collateral versus no collateral.
It really comes down to it. Thank you, Clarity.
Something versus nothing.
That's right.
All right, so the next one, which I'm very familiar with,
Oh, yeah?
personally,
Okay.
so is the convertible note.
Ooh, I love these.
Yeah, so tell me more, Travis, on a convertible
So
note.
it's going to start as debt.
Yeah.
And then it may convert into equity under certain conditions, right? And it's usually common with startups and private companies. The thing that you really need to kind of question here, make sure you're doing your due diligence when you read this convertible note, is what's going to trigger a conversion? Is the conversion automatic or is it an option? Is it an option
Yep.
or is it an automatic conversion? Are there transfer restrictions, right? How you going to get out of it? I think we talked about that.
Yeah,
couple-
make sure you think of the whole investment.
whole
The exit
picture.
strategy.
yeah,
That's
what's
right.
the exit strategy?
And then is the resulting asset administratively feasible? That's a callback to, I think, 4 episodes ago.
Yeah,
when we were
private
talking
equity.
About that. Yeah.
So it's kind of like, Eric, it's like a hybrid. It's a private note and private equity in some sort of way.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of how it's structured.
Yeah, I actually just helped a sponsor and investor set up a convertible note, and yeah, that's kind of how it worked. It was a loan to the company, and then after a certain amount of time, it converted to equity in the company, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's a different strategy. A quick side note from the custodian and administrative side of things, you have to make sure that you're keeping up with the paperwork because it's a little bit a different set of documentation once it does convert to private equity in your account. So you just kind of a little bit more paperwork on that end. So just kind of make sure you have those bases covered if you do something like this.
Yeah, it is. I don't like the word complicated or complex. Those are two different words, but like it does require a little more than the other types of loans.
Yeah.
It's just like with a private equity. You got to know your exit strategy.
That's right.
So yes, the convertible loan, you can lend it, and then if it converts into some like crazy international private thing that can't be held by a custodian, you're in a pickle. So you got to make sure that conversion moment is allowable. And talk to your custodian about that. They'll tell you.
I think everything we've gone over so far is kind of levels of savviness, if you will.
Yeah.
Like the first one is kind of level 1 savvy. Second, secured is 2. And I think this one is probably one of those ones that you've got to be real savvy. You got to know kind of what you're investing in.
This is very common, though, in startups.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, but it's a savvier kind of investment here.
Yeah, I personally have done convertible notes, and it's a great way for me to get into, to be able to help a young company, a startup, let's call it that, and through a debt element. And if it does take off, then I have an option to take equity. I'm like, no, pay me. So these loans are more, there's more to them.
Right.
But we love the idea of investing local, just in general. And this is a great way to invest in local companies.
Yeah.
I agree.
Cool shit, too.
To be able to help out and then have a moment where you could be part owner.
Yeah, be a piece of that pie.
Yeah. So convertible notes. So really, that's those are the three big ones.
That's right.
I'll do a little summary here, Eric. We have unsecured, no collateral.
No collateral.
We have secured
Collateral.
and then we have convertible loans notes.
Option to convert to equity or get your payment back from the loan.
Or some other term.
Yeah, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Those are the three big ones.
Yeah.
Are there little nuanced ones? I'm sure listeners are like, well, you didn't talk about this one. Yes. Those are the three big ones that we see the most often. So can your IRA loan money? Yes. Little recap here. It has to have a term. General. All types have to have a term, have to have a frequency of payback, has to have a rate, a reasonable rate.
That's right.
And can't be a prohibited borrower. I can't loan to my son.
Okay.
Then we go into the three major categories that we see the most, and that is secured, unsecured, and convertible. All different types for different reasons. So that's the loans in general, right, Eric?
Yep.
Okay, so now let's talk, Eric, about what does a custodian need for a IRA to be able to provide a loan?
So it kind of goes back to the talking points that you had of the term, frequency, and a rate. So we need all that information. We need a clear, what's called a promissory note. That's just maybe it's, it's the agreement that says we agree to pay you back this amount of money.
It's the document that explains the loan.
Exactly. Which is why we also kind of call these things notes as well. So you can be like, it's a unsecured note, secured note.
Yeah.
And then, the borrower information, payment instructions. So the IRA and the custodian needs to know how to pay the or how to receive the payment, how to send the payment of the loan to the borrower. Proper IRA titling. Again, remember that the IRA is the one that's loaning the money, not you personally, and that's who also receives the payments back.
So it can't say Kevin Dotson's loaning. It says IRA from custodian for the benefit of Kevin Dotson is loaning this.
IRA. Yep, exactly. And then, all of the proper documentation for the collateral, if it's secured. If it's a convertible note, we need to know, what that means, how it's going to be converted, that type of thing.
And we're just checking to make sure the language is there. We're not checking to make sure that it's a good loan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're just checking a box saying, yep, they have the criteria.
Yep.
The judgment of the criteria is done at the borrower and the lender side.
Yep, got to do that double D, due diligence.
We're checking a box saying this meets the criteria to be in an IRA. We're not making any judgment calls.
Exactly.
Right. I think another thing, too, is like what your custodian isn't. And your custodian's not a loan servicer, right?
No.
So you're going to be responsible for tracking those payments, making sure that these things hit their maturity dates, making sure that you're doing extensions and things like that. Most custodians will not track that for you. So
yeah, we'll talk even more about that. But it's let me say this back to you, Eric, so the listeners get it in case they got their pencils out.
Yep.
We need the note documentation, which is basically saying, here's my terms, here's the IRA's terms with Claire. We need Claire's information, which is the borrower's information. Here's who she is. Here's what's going on. We need the payment instructions, goes to the frequency. How are you going to get paid back? We need this, and this is critical, listener. In this world of alternative assets, titling is everything. So we have to ensure that the loan is titled in the IRA, not me personally to Claire. And if it is a secured loan, we need the information about the collateral. And if it's a convertible loan, we need to talk about that converting moment. But I do want to stress that again, we're not judging what it's being converted to. We're just saying, yes, there's clear language here that says what's happening. So it's still your responsibility, listener, to if it converts to some equity that's held in Antarctica and no one can do that, that's on you. Good, Claire?
Yeah, good.
Cool.
Very good.
Okay, so we got that. You know what? I want to reiterate what Eric was saying too, and Travis a little bit. A custodian, no matter who it is not the loan servicer. It is the responsibility of the IRA owner to, quote, manage the loan. So if your borrower misses a payment, the custodian's not going to be like, hey, they missed a payment. That's on you to make sure you're managing that loan. So, in this kind of like your IRA acting as a bank, you're operating a bank.
That's right.
So you have to operate that bank. Make sure you're getting it paid. Now, the good thing is a lot of these custodians, and New Direction itself, we just did a whole podcast about our new client platform. A lot of these custodians, especially New Direction, shout out to our investor, our sponsor, have tools available for you to track the loan. But they're not saying things happened or didn't happen. I think that's critical. I think there's a good, not a lot, but there's a good amount of investors and IRA holders that think by doing the loan through the custodian's going to manage that loan. Right. Big no-no.
It's still self-directed.
Yeah. You have to be an active participant in it.
Yep, exactly.
Shout out to our sponsor. Our new client platform makes that pretty easy to do.
Pretty darn easy.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah, if you want, you can you can listen to a whole podcast about it.
That's right.
Does it have you on? Are you in it?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Hard pass.
But I will say this. We had a guest star in Trevor, our product manager, New Direction's product manager on it. And I think he did an excellent job.
Oh, I love
Shout out, Trevor.
He did do a great job. I know y'all missed Travis and I on that one, but I thought y'all did.
Did we?
I don't know.
I actually think that may have been our best podcast ever.
It might have been.
It probably was. You guys should probably.
Just kidding.
I'm glad to have you guys back.
Oh, don't stop
Thanks,
it.
guys.
I'm just glad you show up for work.
Thank you, Kevin.
Y'all are getting paid for this?
No.
You guys are getting paid?
All right, our new segment, which I love, which is, and shout out Eric, I'm injecting these into more of our educational ones, is let's talk about some common mistakes. So I'm going to throw some of these out. You guys can jump, and we're going to do round robin on this, okay? So common mistake number 1 is treating the IRA money like personal money.
Big no-no.
Big no-no. It is the IRA's money, not your money. Mistake number 2, which is a big dog, lending to a disqualified person.
That's right.
And I'm not saying there's people out there that think this, what I'm going to say, but people are like, I need to get money out of my IRA. I'm going to loan it to my son or to my wife or someone like that. That's against the law.
Right.
That's right.
You can't do that.
Nope.
It is. That makes a taxable moment. I mean, you can do it, but next thing you know, you're paying penalties and taxes and things like that.
Distribution, baby.
A distribution at age 45, and you don't want to do that.
Not worth
the
it.
purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's a big mistake. Mistake number 3, which is kind of a little wonky, but weak documentation. Again, the custodian is checking to make sure check boxes are checked. They're not checking for the quality. So if it comes through and it's a one-pager that looks like my 9th grader wrote it, just be, weak documentation is a red flag.
Should be, yeah.
And it sounded earlier, Eric was explaining that there's different documentations for each different type of loan.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and
be cognizant of that.
And again, make sure you talk to the right people. The next one we've already hit on a little bit, but I love it, and Eric says all the time, a secured loan doesn't equal safe loan.
Nope.
And I think that's a misconception with secured loans. There is always risk in an investment. There's always risk in a peer-to-peer private loan.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if it's secured or not. There's risk. Mistake number 5, which we've alluded to also, is you're not tracking the note. I loaned Claire money. I set it and forget it. I finally log into my account 2 years later. I'm like, she's never paid me.
That's right.
She's lacking on the payments over there.
And you're like, custodian, why didn't you do anything? Not on us.
Not the job.
Right.
We don't manage the loan.
I think you said it best. Most custodians are relying on active participation.
Yep.
So if you're not actively participating in something that is especially this for a savvier investor, something like this, then what are we doing here?
Yeah, this one I like a lot because I already alluded to it. The mistake number 6 is really misunderstanding the concept of guarantees. As a friend listener, in this world, it is healthy to be skeptical. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It's a healthy characteristic to be skeptical in the alternative investment world. Mm-hmm. We dance a fine line here of like just being educational and trying not to have personal opinions. But let me just say this: I have seen loans that I'm like, no one should do this.
Yikes.
But and you just cringe at it because you're like, this is not good. This is a misunderstanding of a quote guarantee. There are no guarantees. I'm just going to say that. Mm-hmm. So if you're part of a loan and they're saying, if you do this loan, I'll guarantee you this. I'm just saying, as a human, be skeptical.
Reach out to somebody.
Yeah, reach out to someone. Finally, and we beat this dead horse all the time, but I not understanding the convertible moment. Listener, I can't tell, and Eric can talk to this too. We can't tell you how many times we have seen a convertible note convert years later, and what it converts to, no custodian can hold.
That's right.
So now you're kind of like, oh, what do I do? Do I have to pay taxes on it? Do I have to take a distribution of this? So it is your responsibility, and it is critical for you to look at the full thing around the convertible note. Mm-hmm. When I say thing, the convertible moment, capital calls, are they expecting more money? Are there different convertible moments? There's a lot of things you have to look at in a convertible note, but I would say one of the most important one is, can a custodian hold that convertible asset, what it converts to? Mm-hmm. Most of the time the answer is yes.
Sure.
But there's that time it's not, and you're kind of SOL.
Right.
I like the conversation about, really understanding what it converts to as well, because if it converts to equity and you didn't realize that maybe it also said that you were responsible for future capital calls, you got to make sure you have that money in your account to keep up with that stuff too. So if you weren't prepared for it, you could find yourself in a situation where you are responsible for upcoming capital calls and you might not have that.
I may not be using the right language here, but this is what I call it. There's also these step-up loans you can do. So I'm originally going to loan. It's kind of a similar thing. I'm going to loan you $10,000, and if the company hits these milestones, then you promise to loan another $50,000. And if they hit criteria, it's very similar to private equity in that way. And then if they hit the third thing, it could turn into a convertible moment. To Eric's point, though, if you don't have that $50K in your IRA, you've broke the contract of that loan. Mm-hmm. And so, with, how do I say this? Loans and real estate are similar in a way, because in loans and real estate, you really have to be an active observer of the asset itself to make sure that it's living up to the criteria. You in real estate have to make sure people are paying rent.
That's right.
You got to make sure that it's titled right, signing leases, lease management. That's not what custodians do. Property management, that's not what custodians do. With notes, it's the same thing. You, listener, have to manage it and be an active investor in that way. It's kind of weird to say investing in loans, but it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. The last section we was going to say what we do and not do, but I think we have hit a lot of that. So I want to give us an opportunity to kind of are there anything we need to highlight that a custodian does versus what the IRA holder does, and making that super clear? We've hit most of these things, listener, but really the custodian is really the account administrator. What else does the custodian do?
Our custodians don't pick the investment.
Yes.
So and pick the loan. So that is 100%, from the top.
Yep.
That is a big difference.
It's all on you. Mm-hmm. Do your due diligence.
Yep. And don't assume that the custodian is going to do that review work, because even though we are doing a level of review to make sure that the titling is correct, make sure that we can hold the asset, that doesn't equate to us evaluating the merit of the loan.
Yeah, when you close on a house, your closing agent's not like, oh, that's a crappy house you're buying.
Right.
We're the same way. We're not like, this is a crappy loan. Yeah. Your closing agent is making sure all the boxes are checked to make sure that it is a legal investment. Same thing here. We're checking the boxes through our compliance process to make sure that it can be held in an IRA, not if it's good or bad.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I would say this. I started the podcast saying this is not a high frequency asset. I'm surprised by that, actually. Going back to this concept of investing locally, I think debt, loans, notes, all the same word here, is if you're looking to find a way to invest locally, this is a vehicle to do that. Mm-hmm. Loan to a local nail salon, loan to a local real estate developer, loan to a startup general contractor to buy this. We see these often when it comes to the loans. I do know, I won't say their names, but there's a lot of resources online too for these kind of private loans.
Yes.
And different types and ways people are using it within their investment strategy.
Yep, absolutely.
Any final thoughts on private lending, notes?
I mean, I think it's cool. Like you said, it allows you a wide range of opportunities to get into. I think it's also a little bit more, I don't want to say approachable, but you can understand it a little bit more because you're lending money. It's less complicated sometimes, I think, than, investing in private equity, where there's a lot of different, things happening with a company. The value can fluctuate. A loan offers sort of a structured way to get into some of those.
It's a defined return.
Yeah, more exactly. It's defined. It's not a fluctuating thing for the most part.
If the documentation's done well or done, it has a defined return. Now, that doesn't say the person's going to pay it, but the documentation, you as the provider of the loan know what you're getting into and what you should be getting back. Not saying it's going to happen,
right?
But if you say I have a 5% loan, 5 years, paid every month, you're getting money back. Mm-hmm. And so I think what you're saying, Eric, is that it is a little bit more clear on the return than, say, a private equity.
Exactly.
And I think that's why a lot of startups, especially or small businesses, use convertible notes because of that. Because as an initial investor, it's a little risky, and you want to have some definition instead of just like, here's $100,000, give me 5 shares.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it could be nothing.
Yeah. So we don't say if they're good or bad assets, but this is one of those assets that I'm just surprised we don't see more of. Mm-hmm. Just as an observation.
Maybe we will after this podcast.
Maybe. I think it's, I think if I'm an investor and I'm looking outside of the stock market and I'm looking locally, I think buying direct real estate, I think buying directly into a private company, and debt are 3 vehicles that are available to invest locally through your IRA. And I think, again, I would encourage people to go online. I do know on ndtco.com, we have a whole section on private lending that talks more from the angle of what is required from the custodian, as in New Direction, shout out New Direction, what is needed. To Travis's earlier point, there's a lot of resources online that are not affiliated with us at all that kind of talk about the different loan types and how to structure it. And then I can feel Esquire over there saying this. This is definitely one of those assets you got to talk to a qualified person, a lawyer, an advisor, not Travis.
No, do not.
So, Claire, what's next for Alts at Altitude?
Yeah, so again, we're going to take a little hiatus. Going to go on some summer adventures. So we will be...
I'm going to get tanned up.
Ooh.
So you're going to a beach.
That's a hint.
I know.
Well, not just a beach, also a jungle.
Do they speak English?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay.
Well,
yes, people there speak English.
No, I mean, is it a traditionally English-speaking country?
I won't answer that question.
Oh, you're really afraid of a stalker.
This is why I don't like post anything on Instagram either about my trips. Did you hear about like Patrick Mahomes' house getting robbed because he was at the NFL game? Yeah. You've heard about this, right?
Yeah. So you have viewers. You have the same level of wealth as Patrick Mahomes.
If I did, viewers, you wouldn't be listening to me right now.
You wouldn't keep any direction.
Let me tell you right now. This podcast would not exist.
Yeah, that's an alternative universe.
The one listener out there, my mom, is grateful.
That's right.
That I don't make Patrick Mahomes money.
Shout out,
because this podcast exists.
So we'll be off for a couple of weeks, but the core 4 will be back at the
I'm stoked.
end of the month. We've got some good stuff lined up through the end of the year, which is exciting. Some new guests as well, some experts within the industry. So all good stuff. So be sure to tune in. But yeah, we'll see y'all here shortly.
Yeah, and I want to remind the listeners too. I was told this last week, and the team here doesn't know. I said, each one of our podcasts sits independently. Mm-hmm. So it's not like they're tied together. So if this is your first time listening to Alt with Altitude, don't be afraid to go back to the older ones because they all live independent of each other.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so you can kind of jump around. We're starting to get a menu out there of content. So you can jump around based upon, and you don't have to start at one. Yeah. You could start here and move around. So I encourage you to look at the whole list of podcasts we have on YouTube and Spotify and other places and click on the ones you find interesting. You don't have to listen to the other ones.
That's right. It's not necessarily like a road trip.
Yeah, it's not a story.
It's not. It's conversations, and we're always open to new ideas as well. We've gotten some great feedback. So if you want to hear us chat about something that you're interested in, let us know. And
we apprate you guys. Really do.
Yeah.
Well, this is a new thing for us as always, and we appreciate you. And we'd like to say bye.
See you later.
Bye.